Is the world in an everything bubble? Is everything about to collapse and fall down? Will you need apocalypse barter tokens like these 1 gram silvers and 1 gram gold when the collapse finally happens? Because it certainly feels that way. There's a lot of really quite scary things going on in the world, and gold and silver are continually going up. And everything else is high right now. Stocks, shares, crypto, lots of things seem high, including cost of living and inflation. And the value of our money is going down. What does that mean for gold and silver? If the everything bubble pops, will gold and silver start catapulting to the moon? It's very possible. And I know for one that I want to keep my gold. He says holding gold that's currently for sale. But this is my business stuff. My stacking stuff, you're going to have to pry it out of my cold dead hands, because it does seem like we're in a bit of a strange place in the world right now. And nobody knows what's going to happen. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another precious metal ramble where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. Now look, the title of this video is The Everything Bubble and the Imminent Collapse of Society. I want to just be very clear that I am not a doom and gloom naysayer, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what I will say is that the world right now does seem a little bit crazy, and there are a lot of things that are very high in price and value. Stocks and shares are up, crypto is up, gold and silver of course at all-time highs. And noticing, as I have over the last couple, I think of years quite frankly, that society seems to be shifting and changing. Everybody's out for themselves, and it seems like perhaps that we're on the cusp of something a little bit scary. And if the everything bubble maybe pops, what's going to happen to gold and silver? They're in the everything bubble right now, they're high at the moment. Will they pop as well and go down? Or are we just at the beginning, the foot of the mountain of what's to come for gold and silver? I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor, but we are here to have a fun, thought-provoking discussion, or as I call them, a precious metal ramble about the world of gold and silver and the everything bubble. And also a little bit of a commentary on the state of society right now, because it's pretty crazy where we are in the world. Now, you'll notice that we have a whole array of various different cool things out on the table here. And this is our fractional range. And I thought it apt to share and release these in this little ramble about the potential collapse of the world society and the financial world, because these are what I call my backyard bullion apocalypse barter tokens. We've got gold, we've got silver, we've got frac packs, as I call them, fractional packs. And they are all now available on our website. So if you're interested, after watching this video, go and check out our website where you can find all of the different pieces that we have available, from these 10 gram silver, 1 gram frac packs, all the way down to our individual 1 gram gold bars. We've also got triplicate 1 gram gold bar packs, the little tri-packs as I call them. They're limited up to just only 6 of those made. We've got 1 gram silver, 1 gram gold packs, and we've got 10th ounce gold packs as well. So there's a cool array of different products out there on our website. Also our 100 gram silver bars. Enough about that plug. We'll talk more about these products in a little bit as we go. But what I do want to say is I think gold is high. And I mean, again, just checking the gold prices this morning alone, it was at all-time highs once again. And it does seem that that is high for a reason. And I do think it's related to the crazy situations that the world faces right now in terms of finances, in terms of inflation, in terms of cost of living crises, wars, COVID legacy cost layovers, the impact that Brexit's had on the UK economy and devaluing the pound. It's just never ending, it seems, and that has, I think, an effect on everything. But also where I'm seeing right now, stocks and shares are up. My shares portfolio is up massively. The S&P 500 index is nicely up for the year, certainly from where I bought in anyway, after the sort of big Trump slump when he announced all his tariffs and the world just absolutely had a bit of a nightmare. There is just a bit of a feeling right now for me as a sort of collector and also investor in precious metals that we're onto something. We're onto something pretty good in terms of preservation of wealth and having money in our pockets, real money, money that's just not on a screen that could be inflated away to nothing. And that's quite scary. Now, one of the reasons why I think everything's up right now is because inflation's up much higher than I think official CPI figures will say. We are seeing more and more things going up in cost. I'm seeing it all the time, just in the groceries. Every time you go to the shops, it seems you get less for more. And inflation is up as well from just other costs of living. Everything's up right now. And of course, we're getting taxed more and more here in the UK as well. It's just really quite hard. Now, does that mean that gold and silver being high will pop? Because I do think something's going to give at some point, whether it will be a huge collapse in stocks and shares. I don't know if there will be a stock market crash, so to speak, but there will perhaps be some pullbacks in various different indexes, I think, over time. You know, we are seeing more good potential news coming out from geopolitical situations in the Middle East, for example. Maybe that will instill the markets to continue growing, but it can't go on forever. Markets go up, markets go down, and there's been a massive, massive growth over the last couple of months, certainly since the Trump slump in February. We saw a huge drop in the markets, and it was quite eye-watering, really, to see a lot of stocks and shares indexes go down quite so much. But they've recovered, and they've recovered even more so. And of course, having recovered from a low point, if you bought in at the low points, you will have made, I mean, some of my stocks and shares indexes are up 25% since buying in at the bottom of that. So what's going to happen to gold if all those things go down? So gold and silver, whilst globally traded commodities, are not the same as a stock and a share index. They are a safe haven asset, and they always have been a safe haven asset. They have been that go-to place for institutional wealth to put the money to make sure that it is locked up and safe. So if we do start to see, and maybe we're seeing it now, maybe this is why gold and silver are so high, but if we start to see some of the major incorporated hedge funds and institutions, we're seeing it from big governments all around the world, Russia and China putting as much as they can into gold and silver, maybe it's the signs that something is going to give. And if it does give, then gold and silver are going to go a lot higher, because the value of the currency that we all have in our banks will go down. That's the premise. That's the thing that makes gold and silver go up and down in price. It's not that suddenly gold has become more valuable. It's because the money that we use to buy the gold and silver has gone down quite so much. That's how we do it. So it's a really interesting premise of gold and silver ownership right now. I would not be looking to sell my gold. He says holding a bunch of gold that's for sale. This stuff is different. This stuff is business related, and it's always been an interesting one for a sort of stacker to then have a precious metal business as well, because what I obviously have to do for a living is sell bits of gold and silver, and we've got here all of our fractional pieces that we've made that we're selling. Part of me is like, I don't want to sell any of it because I want to keep it for another few months to see where gold prices are. Who knows where gold prices could be in the coming weeks and months. But, as a business, I've got to earn money. I've got to pay the bills and have that money to use in real life. So, from my perspective as a business, sure, I've got products for sale and they're up on the website right now. You can go and buy them, and that's great. But also, part of me is like, just don't sell ever, because the things are going to go up even more. And that's definitely been what's happened over the last couple of months. Just even in this last few weeks, gold of course has gone on a run. Really crazy to see where it's going to be. And I do think we're in this really strange period, and I do want to just reiterate some of the points that I made in a previous video to finish up. So if you're in the Cool Kids Club, you know what I'm going to talk about. It's the degradation of society. That's where I feel like the biggest warning signs are. Yeah, stocks and shares are up, gold and silver are up, money's down. There are all of these other things happening in the world. But what I'm seeing as a big warning sign, and I'll refer back to another little interesting tidbit in the film The Big Short, which if you haven't watched is a must watch. It's a really good film. In there are some indicators from Michael Burry and various other investors who shorted the big housing crisis and global financial crisis of 2008. And their basic premise was that before big crashes, you tend to see things like fraud on the increase. You see increases in social, social like norms. You see more people brazenly, openly committing fraud and acts of social vandalism. And that's happening. That's happening all the time now. There was a a post that was shared on the silver forum of a silver pourer who makes silver here in the UK, who got an order from a customer for some hearts, silver hearts that he made. It was £800 worth, I think, something like that. And the order was fulfilled, sent out to the customer, and then he got a chargeback on his debit card transaction. So the seller got chargeback from the customer. And look, I can't say without I can say without any shadow of doubt, because the customer has now returned the hearts after threat of legal action. But at that initial point, you can never just 100% say, well, something hasn't happened in the post, or somebody's had a bad day and not put the right things in the package. So it's one of those things. But then what happened was this seller has basically sent respectful but firm messages to this buyer who's trying to rip him off to say, look, you're trying to rip me off. I know you're trying to rip me off. And if you continue with this, I will take you to small claims court. I'll take legal action against you. And lo and behold, the person has sent back those bits of poured silver. But it's just brazen. And I've experienced a similar situation whereby a customer of mine refused to pay me for some services rendered because, I don't know, they're morally bankrupt and the greed set in and they wanted a bit more money in their pocket. And you know what? When you get a situation like that, it sucks as a business. It sucks from a moral standpoint. But what can you do? I mean, I could threaten legal action against this person, but I mean, I can't be bothered with that. It's not life-breaking sums of money. It's for services rendered, so I'm not out of pocket. I'm just out of pocket for my time. And, from my perspective, it's just a sign of the times. It's just a sign that there are people out there who are willing to defraud other people, who are willing... I mean, you just look at the amount of bank fraud cases there are. Another case, so I've just recently... Here we go. Cool Kids Club. You guys will hopefully know Bunker Bullion. So I bought a Bunker Bullion bar from Hi-Ho Silver to commemorate his 10 years. And he made me this, one of one piece. Really super incredible. But he's got an official... one-of-one special bar, which is so cool, and I've won the auction for it. I'm so happy that I won the auction for it, and I'll be getting it hopefully in the next few weeks. But before the auction ended, I got a message on Instagram from some retrobate pretending to be Bunker Bullion, Hi-Ho Silver, and said, "You've won the auction, please pay me, here's my PayPal account." I'm so annoyed I didn't screenshot his PayPal information, because we could then find out exactly who he is and really, report him to the authorities. But didn't have the right feel to it. The auction hadn't ended, so I was like, well, why are you contacting me? And then I had a bit of fun with him and played around with him. But, it's just a sign of the times. It really is a sign of the times that there are people out there who will try and defraud anything and everything that you do. In fact, here we've got some of the images here. Yeah, there we go. I can just show that now, so it's hilarious. So, he said, "Pay them, friends and family, shoot me screenshot. Are you the real Bunker Bullion? You have 0 posts, 0 followers, and the name is not that of Bunker Bullion. I'm on a message limit, blah, 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 message limit, whatever. Sure, so tell me why I'm sending money to someone with a different name to that of Bunker Bullion." And it's hilarious. And then here's my last little message I sent to him. So I said, the auction is also set to end on the 29th of September at 6 p.m. So the auction hasn't even ended yet. Yeah, I decided to close it earlier. Sure you did. You're obviously the real deal. It's like, I guess you really don't believe me. It's okay. Yeah, so it's like, and Hi-Ho Silver Bunker Bullion, he knows my real name. Though. It's like, tell me my real name if you know my real name. And he did. He said, your name's Backyard. Yeah, of course it is, mate. Of course it is. But it's just a sign of the times. It really is crazy. There are people out there who I think are brazenly, openly, and I talked about it in my previous video, they don't care. They're parking in disabled bays. They're just not opening doors for people. They're being isolationist. They're being, there are just so many people out there who are so scummy right now, and it's so sad. And, it's again about even, I'm not going to go into the bigger politics here in the UK, but there are movements in the UK which I fundamentally disagree with, and they are having impacts on real people, real lives, and it sucks. It sucks so badly. It really does. So is this the beginning of the end? Bringing this back around full circle, are we in the end game, or the start of the end game for gold and silver's shoot to the moon and the collapse of society and the imminent popping of the everything bubble? Maybe. I don't know, is the honest answer. It's going to be scary times ahead. But if you want to protect yourself from those scary times with some fractional bits of gold and silver that help support our channel, I'm not going to lie, they are premium products. They take me a long time to make. Each gold bar is hallmarked, by the way, as well, which costs an absolute bomb to do for individual pieces, laser hallmarked on. So there are all these little factors going in. So I do think though they're fair priced items for what they are. They're limited mintage on the ones in here are serialized. So we have these as a limited mintage of 100. We've then got a few little extras in these. So these tri-packs are limited to just 6 tri-packs. So there's a few of them. There's only 4 of these 1 gram silver, 1 gram gold packs. We've got our 10th ounce gold bits as well. Those are only limited to a maximum of 50 pieces per year. So we've got some leftovers from the pre-sales that we've had. Those are up for sale now. Our 100 gram bars, whilst they are fractional, those are now in general sale. Those are up on the website too. So if you want to support the channel and everything that we do, it goes a long way to help us. But please don't feel like you have to go and buy stuff. That's not what we're about in terms of asking you to go and spend money. If you just watch, if you just enjoy, if you just share, comment and like on our videos, that will be enough for me. But if you want to go that step further, then we do have our products up on the website right now. Shipping globally, worldwide, ready for immediate dispatch. Off you go. Thank you very much to everybody. And now, the Cool Kids Club, we need you to quote me something. And I think it's hilarious. Let's just quote the Bunker Bullion scammer. So Bunker Bullion, no, would the real Bunker Bullion please stand up? That's the phrase. That's the phrase for you cool kids. Would the real Bunker Bullion please stand up? I'm going to do a proper full-on tribute video to Bunker Bullion when I get his 10-year bar. Because he's incredible and he's my inspiration. I wouldn't be here without his inspiration, or the inspiration from him, I should say. So go and check him out and give him some love. But big on him and big on his channel and everything he does. So anyway, that's it. I'm waxing lyrical now. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy our pieces, then go and check them out. Backyardbullion.com, linked in the description box below. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.